Hey crew, it's Pitt, and I'm back with some more MBTI. Today we're going to be diving into the rest of the I's. This is going to be the IFs, and we're going to go ahead and start with ISFJ. Let's go ahead and dig in. So the ISFJ is going to be very much concerned about what has happened. That is the determining factor in their life. What has happened in the past. The SI Divine, they can almost be overpowered by past experiences, by the actual evidence, by the things in their life. It will be balanced somewhat by the crown, because that's what the crown does, and that's going to be FE. So you're going to be checking what has happened with what everyone feels about what has happened. FE is very much concerned about future feelings, so it's about what will everyone feel about what has happened. So you can get a bit of holding secrets in this area. TI for the third eye is what you're going to be defensive over. It's going to be personal thoughts and logic for a regular ISFJ, but for an alternate, it's going to be the future possibilities and foresight. The throat, what you miscommunicate, is going to be NE and the future possibilities and foresight, or TI for the alternate, and that's going to be personal thoughts and logic. The lower half of the stack is going to be, for the heart, we're going to have SE. You're not going to get a lot of wavelength right here. This is going to be the current things and exploring new things and giving sensation and completing things. That's the same for both of them. The solar plexus is going to be about past feelings and morals. You're not going to get a whole lot of energy right here. In fact, you're going to kick yourself behind not getting this right most of the time. And for you, that is going to be your own feelings. The sacral is the trickster energy, is the sexual energy. It's TE for the ISFJ, which is what everyone else thinks, their rationale. For the NI, that is going to be the best possible guidance and narrowing down the possibilities. For the base, it's going to be the opposite. Is going to be NI for the regular ISFJ. That's going to be best possibility and guidance. It's going to be seeing the way forward. But for the alternate, that's going to be TE, other people's thoughts and rationale. All right, so how do we go about integrating this into ourselves? How do we make this part of who we are? That's why we're here. I do a quick run through of what they are, and then we talk about how you work with them. So we're going to start at the bottom, because that's where you need to start. It's where you're going to get tripped up. You get a lot of energy in both the top slot, the divine slot, and in the base slot. That is where you receive most of your energy. But if you're receiving it through your base, you're not really using it in the right manner. It tends to be the part that trips you up the most. It's where you get stuck in your demons. It's for the ISFJ, that's going to be choosing the best possibilities. And so you're going to be not good at choosing the best possibility, like at all. You're just going to miss it. You're not going to get it right hardly ever. You're going to see possibilities, but you're not going to be able to choose the correct one, generally speaking, going forward. So in order to do that, you're going to need to take the time to stop, consider, look at what the possibilities are, and then use some of your other stack to narrow down the possibilities in a logical manner. Logic for you is your child slot, so you're going to be very defensive over your logic. Put that to use for you. Take the logic that you use to push back against everybody else and use that to choose the best thing for yourself. For the base on the alternate, that is going to be a TE. You're going to be very much concerned, well, not very much concerned, but you're going to be very much oblivious to what other people think. They're not going to register in what you're doing. You're going to completely miss what other people think about what you're doing. You're going to completely miss what they think about your possibilities, what has happened in your life, how they feel about things. You're just going to miss it. The rationale is why people think what they think, not what you think, but what they think. And you don't understand that. You are very much caught up in your inferior TI. You're miscommunicating your own logic.
So you're not understanding their logic. You're pushing back without really understanding why you're pushing back. So take the time to consider the fact that somebody else's logic could be right. Somebody else could be logically consistent besides you. Somebody else could be uh, doing the right thing with their rationale. You need to figure out where the tribe actually is. Not what you think is the tribe, because you're going to miss that. You're going to narrow down the wrong possibility in your tribe. Oh, this NITE right here, you're going to be picking the wrong people to hang around with. Not because you're a bad person, but because they tend to take advantage of you. So stop and consider whether or not the people whose rationale you're actually listening to have your best interest in heart. They probably don't. Uh, for the sacral, this is your trickster energy. This is what's going to really trip you up, right? This is where you're going to get it wrong in a very pronounced way. For the ISFJ, that's going to be TE. You're going to get other people's thoughts wrong. That's the common thing between the two types. It's just a matter of degree. And you're misinterpreting their thoughts and acting on them in the wrong way. Because trickster is more of an active thing than the base is. And you're actively dismissing someone else's rationale, even though they have the evidence. Now, you're not going to want to listen to the evidence because it's going to go against what you think the ethics are. And so you're going to need to stop and take the time to listen and figure out what their rationale is for what they're trying to convince you of. It could be wrong. It could be wrong. You could be right. There's a very good chance that you're right, that they're wrong. But you need to at least consider the fact that they might be right. You need to consider the fact that their rationale might be sound. For the alternate, the sacral and the trickster energy is going to be an NI, and that means that you're going to have you're actively going to be choosing the wrong things. You're actively going to be choosing things that you already know don't work, that you already know don't fit you as a person. You're going to be going into a job that you absolutely hate. You're going to be living in a house that you do not like. You're going to be in a relationship with someone that you don't care for. You're going to be doing the active things to maintain your life because you're very comfortable with what has happened. And you already know what these people in your life's feelings are going to be. So you're very comfortable with that. Even if it's an abusive relationship, even if it's a relationship that is not beneficial for you in the slightest, you know what to expect from these people. So you are comfortable keeping them in your life. And it's not just about people, but it's also about your profession. It's about your hobbies. It's about what you do in your life, choosing the best thing for you, your diet, whether or not you exercise. All of these things are things that you decide for you. But you happen to base them off of your past experience and what other people are going to feel about it. So if you are like me and just a little bit slightly flabby, and you're like, I really need to exercise, but if I do that, then my spouse is going to feel like they have to exercise, and I don't want to feel like I'm pushing them into exercising, so I'm just not going to exercise. That's how that works. And you're choosing actively the wrong possibility, thinking that you're doing it right. You're thinking that you're making peace with your spouse by not being the example of exercise, when in actuality, if you would to actually be the example of exercise, they would probably join you with it. The solar plexus, this is what feeds you, what nourishes you, where you gain sustenance for your body. And so for the ISFJ, that is the past feelings. It is about how you have felt in the past. Now, you determine that a very large part for both of you, your very large part about what other people feel or what you think that other people will feel. You feel good when you think everyone else is going to feel good. And so you have a tendency to get caught up in that energy of trying to make someone else feel good, even though it's detrimental to yourself. Like, you can see that all through this stack. And so it's really a challenge for you. You really need to consider why it's making you feel good and whether or not that is a good thing, right? It may not be. You may be feeling good and it's not really feeding you. But if you can align this stuff and you can make it feed you, like you're gonna be the type of person who is going to be able to take past experiences and see what everybody else is going to feel about them in the future. And so if you can get that correctly, then your feelings now become more of what you actually want to feel. And if you can actually get your feelings right and not be overpowered by them, which has a tendency to happen in this slot, if you can not be overpowered by your emotions and you can be logical in the application of your emotions, which I know sounds fucking crazy, but take the time to actually understand why you're feeling this way. Chances are it is because you think someone else is going to feel good about something. And you need to be more about you. You need to be just a little bit more selfish with it. That's not to say become a selfish person or to guard your heart and never let anyone in or anything like that. But to be true and authentic to yourself and to be who you feel you should be. It's very important for the Fs to feel good because it's extremely easy for an F to wobble, to go from highs to lows. You see a lot of manic type things in this, and you're feeling really, really good, and then somebody over here has a bad experience and you notice it, and then you feel like shit, even if it wasn't your fault. You need to stop. I know that's hard. But you still need to do it. For the heart, now this is what you really want to do, and what you really want to do is to give other people experiences. You want to give other people things. You want to give other people actual experiences of new things, of going to new places, and to giving gifts that somebody has never seen before. The problem is that you're not very good at that. You're not very good at choosing the right new thing to give to someone. That comes from farther down in your stack. But if you're starting to balance that, you can see that, okay, I don't need to buy this guy that I just met 2 days ago a $600 television. You don't need to do that in order to feel good because you're thinking, man, I got this TV and it made me feel so much better. And so if I buy this TV for this person, they are going to feel great and that's going to make me feel great. Well, that's feeding your SE and your FI, but it's feeding it in the wrong manner. You don't have to give people things to make them feel good. You can smile at them. You can talk to them. You can give them an experience outside of material things. You can have a tendency to get caught up in the material things because it's your heart and you're trying to feed it. You're trying to do that. Now, if you can give other people experiences, that is going to help you. Like, you'll be a good salesman. Because you are able to take the evidence of what the things are, you are able to anticipate what other people are going to feel about it, and you're able to feel the need of what they are actually looking for. Salesmanship is not about selling you a pen. Like, I don't have it on me. I must have took it out of my pocket. I had a pen in my pocket, but there's a salesman trick where they say, all right, sell me this pen. It's never about actually selling the pen, right? It's about finding the need for someone to have a pen, and then you've got the need for them. And so you're going to be really good at that. You're really, really good at narrowing down what somebody needs in their life. You just have to quit trying to give it to them, right? It can be they need to buy it. That happens, and you need to feel less guilty about that. But if you're feeling that need for someone, you're really going to feel your own stuff. And like, salesman's a really good example of it because you are using that actively. You're taking the actual things that we have in stock and you're checking it back against what this person will feel better for. And so it really is a good spot. I don't know. I'll try to think as we go through the rest of the stack of some other examples, but that's probably going to be my example for what you should do. For the throat, this is where you're going to miscommunicate things. You're going to misunderstand, and you're going to relay it back to the tribe wrong. It's not something that you're trying to do, it's just something that you do. And for the ISFJ, that is seeing future possibilities. So you're not really good at seeing, or you're really good at knowing what's in the stock, right? Using the example of the salesman. So you're really good at knowing what you got in your store. You know all the things that are in your store, and you know how to meet that need with somebody. But if you don't have that in your stock, whatever it is they happen to need, if you don't have it, you have no clue what to do. Like, you don't know where to send them. You don't know what options to give them. You don't know where to go forward with it. You don't, and if you do, like, you're not going to want to tell them. You're going to want to hold on to that. You're going to miscommunicate. You're going to send them in the wrong direction. Well, you don't want to buy from me? Fuck you then. Go over there. And then you give them the wrong name. You need to stop. And one of the ways to do that is by knowing what the actual possibilities are. And so you need to stop and consider, okay, what are the actual other things outside of this that we have? And this would, you're also good at like estimation. Estimation would be a good thing for this, because you're good at knowing the scope of the project. You're good at knowing what needs to be done. You're even halfway decent about logically deciding what to do. Your problem is you miss the incidentals that go along with it, right? So you're making a bid for a construction project, and you think that you've covered every contingency, but you forgot to plan for soil testing, and now you're $5,000 over budget because you failed to see the option ahead of you. Work on that. Kick back against the tribe with that, because that is what you need to do for an extroverted spot. You need to kick back against the tribe and get into the habit of going to someone else and asking, like, especially in a professional manner, but even in your personal life, but as a professional, until you are fully aware of what the actual possibilities are, check back every single time with someone else. Be like, okay, I need to know, did I miss anything in this estimate? I need to know, did I miss anything in this project? I need to know, did I miss anything in this? Because you're going to have a tendency to miss things. And if you can own that and understand, yes, I miss things all the time, it's not going to kill you to know that you miss things. It will kill you professionally if you miss things and don't acknowledge it. If you're consistently missing parts of your estimate, you won't be the one doing estimates anymore. And so you need to do what you need to do to make sure that you have all of the options arrayed. Now, for the alternate, your trip up, your miscommunication is going to be your own thoughts and logic. You're not going to be able to explain to other people what the other possibilities are and why you got there. You're not going to be able to tell other people, well, I decided to go with this option, or these are the options because of this. If you take your logic, which is what this is, and you can't communicate it to someone else, then they're just not going to pay attention to you. So you need to take the time to actually list out your stuff. You're really good at lists anyway. You're an SI dominant. You're good at organization. So list out your logic. Even if it's just for yourself, before you bring anything to someone else, sit down and logic check it. Now, this is logic checking against yourself because it is an I, right? So this is TI, what do I need to think about this? Now, you can kick that back against the tribe. Getting tribe feedback is always a good idea, as long as you're going to someone with an intelligence level that can handle the concept. So you should always kick back against the tribe, but this is for you. If it's an I, it's for you, right? That's what you tend to use it for. And so even if you give it away at a later date, you tend to use it for you. And so you need to be consistent in your logic. You need to understand why you do the things you do. You need to make sure that the yes-no questions are answered. Is this a good idea? Yes or no. Can I do it? Yes or no. what needs to be done in order to do it. List out the options of what needs to be done, and then ask, okay, how can this go wrong? Because if I've got everything listed out that I need to do, if I can list out the options that are going to be wrong, then I'll be able to communicate back to other people why they're going to be wrong. And the third is all about communication. So make sure that you are talking about these things. Now, you have to do it for yourself first, but then you have to talk about it. You have to work on the communication of it. The third eye is seeing forward, but it's also about you get very defensive. It's your child's light. It's what you get defensive over. And for the ISFJ, you're going to get defensive over your logic. Now, generally speaking, you're going to be okay in your logical consistency. You're not going to be the best at it, but you're going to be okay. It's high enough in the stack that you get the energy there. You're organized enough that you're not really missing all of that. Like you have the reasoning down. You just miss the possibilities. So you need to take the time to actually look forward at the possibilities with your logic. Now you've already worked into your possibilities. You figured out what they could be. Now's when you yes know it. And this is when you fact check it, you logic check it. Are these possibilities actually viable? Yes or no? What do I need to do? Yes or no? Like it's the same thing, but it's in a different emphasis. You're using, like everybody uses the entire stack at varying degrees all the time. The point is to balance them and to get stronger where you're weaker. You tend to be a little bit stronger towards the top of your stack. And so your logic is good as long as you're applying it to the right possibilities. And as long as the bottom half of your stack is correct, you will be choosing the right possibilities. So just take time to consider the logic of the situation and whether or not it is something that actually needs to be done, whether or not it is something that actually can be done, and whether or not you are the person that actually can do it. And if you can, you're seeing forward to the things. Like that is how you're bringing it about. It's by applying your logic to those possibilities and to other people's feelings, because each one of these points touches the one above and below it. And so you need a balance between the one above and below it all the way through the stack. The third eye for the alternate, however, is going to be seeing possibilities. And you're going to get very defensive over this. You're going to be very upset if somebody questions whether or not you are actually considering possibilities. You're going to think that you have everything organized. You're going to think you already know how everyone is going to react to it. You know what their ethics are. And so you're going to think that you have considered all of these options. You're looking forward towards the options. But chances are, if you're not healthy here, then you're missing some. And so you need to take the time to slow down and consider them. And to be less defensive over them. You need to check back against the tribe. Okay, this is what I see the options as being. What do you think? That simple interaction right there. Like I feel like, and be proactive with it. Okay, this is what I see the possibilities as. Do you see anything I missed? That gives you a chance to make them feel good about it, because they're helping you to see your possibilities, and there may be some you missed. You're going to have a problem where they're going to bring up something that you didn't consider in the slightest. And it might even be the best idea. And that's going to get you upset. Like, God, no. There's no way, that's not possible. Nope. And so you're going to fight back against the possibilities. Learn to not do that. Learn to consider. Like, there's always a possibility that the tribe is wrong. But you do always, 100% of the time, need to consider whether or not they are. 100% of the time, you need to consider you might be wrong. Especially with this spot in your stack, because it's going to be very defensive. This is what you're going to want to fight people over giving you options. That's crazy. And so what it is you're taking your past experiences and you're applying what everyone else has felt or will feel about those experiences if they have them. And so your future possibilities are pulled from that pool of what you have already experienced. You're not going to want to let in things that you have not personally experienced, and that's a problem. Well, other people have wisdom too, and you need to learn to accept that other people have wisdom too. All right, so now we're into the crown and the divine. This is where it gets easy. We've already worked through the hard parts of the stack, right? You've got your TE in line, you got your NI in line, you got your FI in line, you got your SE in line. You've been working at this for 6 weeks now. You've already figured out all the rest of those. So this is where it gets easy. This is what you do really well already. You're really good at this. You were really good as an ISFJ and an alternate with knowing what other people are going to feel about a situation without even trying or really thinking about it. It does require a little bit of thought, but not as much as it could. You're going to say, oh, well, this experience happened. This is what other people would feel about the same experience. And you're right, like almost all of the time. This is like a 70+%, right? The crown is like 70 plus, divine is like 90 plus. And it gets lower and then back higher on the bottom. And except in the bottom it's normally backwards. So you're 70% wrong and 90% wrong, right? You're 70% right about what other people are going to think. But those times that you miss it, boy, do you miss it. And then it also, you're giving this to the tribe. You're giving, like, your tribe's feelings are important, but that is your tribe's feelings. You may or may not even care what anybody else thinks. And if your tribe is 5 people, that's the only 5 people on the entire planet that matter. And everybody else's feelings can go to shit. But those 5 people you're going to take care of. It could be 500. It could be 5,000. You could consider everybody the tribe. You have a tendency towards that too, because the Fs really are empathic more than the Ts are. And so you're going to feel better when other people are feeling good or are about to feel good. And so you need to slow down and consider the rest of the tribe. Not just the people that you consider your people, not just the people that you consider right. You need to consider the feelings of the people you consider wrong, because you're going to have a tendency to judge that. You're going to do it not in the best way. You're going to be defensive on the ISFJ side about about the logical consistency of other people. And then you're going to miscommunicate your own logic on the alternate side. And so you may be choosing the wrong crowd to align with. There may be better options for you. There's a chance that you're stuck in a relationship that is not beneficial to you. And so you need to really consider whether or not your tribe is the right tribe. That's especially important for an FE crown. Like, that's the spot where FE really can, like, choosing the wrong tribe will trip you up more than most things. And so just make sure that you're actually choosing the tribe that aligns with what you really want. Like what your past experience is telling you is the right way forward. Make sure that the tribe you are aligned with actually understands that and is actually working forward with that. And then the SI divine. This is about what has happened. The divine can be overpowered just as well as the base can. The amount of energy that comes in right there can be completely overpowering. So what has happened in the past can be holding you back. If it is, you're in that 10% part. If it's not, then you're in the 90% part. Because 90% of the time you are organizing the past experiences for what they actually were. You are organizing the past experiences for what has actually happened in your life, what actual things you have in your life, what actual data has been shown 90% of the time. But that 90+% of the time, but that other percentage, that less than 10% right there, when you get that wrong, boy, you got that wrong, like big wrong. And it can be devastating to get this part wrong, to completely misinterpret what has actually happened. You're going to think that this happened and it really didn't. But you are going to be stuck on that just as much as an SI base is. You're going to be stuck on what has happened and how you can't get past it. But it's not true. No matter what has happened to you, you can change today. Going forward is a choice. And it is especially hard for you if you're on the wrong side of this. But know that there is hope on the other side of it. If you can go back through your stack and actually look at what actually happened, not what you feel about it, not what other people you thought felt about it, but because most of the time, when the FE, like you think you know what they feel about it, and there's a good chance with it being this high that you do, but if you don't, you're not going to ask. You're not asking somebody, did that give you a good experience? Did you feel good about that? Nobody asked that. Like, nobody asked that, right? But you're going to assume one way or the other. Yes, it did, or no, it didn't. The assumption is what's going to bite you. That's where the SI getting shelved wrong actually happens, is because you are misinterpreting what other people have felt about the things. And so because you think that somebody else had a bad experience with this one thing, you will never give that one thing a shot again. You know this one person that went, rode a motorcycle and got in a wreck and was injured, and you will never ride a motorcycle ever, ever. You know this one person that shot a gun and it was too much for him, and now you're scared of it. You'll never shoot a gun. You allow someone else's feelings to restrict your new experiences. So you really have to work on getting new experiences. Especially because the new experiences are going to feed your heart. You really like organization. You do. You really like having things where they belong. This box is for this thing. Don't put nothing else in this box. Right? This folder is for these people. Don't put nobody else in this folder. But there needs to be more flexibility in your life. You need to get outside of doing the same thing every day. Right? You have a tendency towards that, of staying stuck doing the exact same pattern every single day. And while that can be a wonderful comfort, and for some of us, that is actually something that we need. You need it less because you are so naturally inclined to do it. You need to actively work towards getting outside of that box. You need to actively work about, if you're in the store, I'm not telling you to walk up and start a conversation with somebody, but it will be all right if you nod or you wave or you smile or you make a passing comment about something that happens, right? It's okay to do that. You have a tendency to think that you're going to give somebody a bad experience with it. They're going to have a bad feeling if I wave, right? There are people that really believe that. A smile or love is the only thing that multiplies when you divide it. And so you need to divide your love. You need to divide your experience and get in new experiences. Because when you can pull in the new experience of other people and their feelings, whether or not they're good or bad, when you can bring in the new experiences of things, it's really going to feed your soul. You're really going to feel fulfilled by the new experiences. Now, by all means, do that in a cautious manner. I am not telling you as a 5'2" woman to go up to some 6'4" man that you've never seen before and start spilling your guts to him. I'm never going to tell you to do that. But if you're comfortable with it, by all means. The point is to enrich yourself by getting new experiences, because you don't tend to do that. You really don't. You tend to stay in your box. You get your feelings hurt pretty easily. And if you can get a little bit more calloused with it, not callous, but calloused, and understand that sometimes hurt happens, but it doesn't have to stop you from new experiences, because that is going to be a big thing for you. You're very much fit around what other people feel about the things that have happened. You're the type of person that you will be abused and make excuses for other people. You will be, oh, and that's not something that you should determine whether or not you're an ISFJ for, because there are other ones that do that. But you're going to have a real bad tendency of holding on to this experience and not understanding that not every experience is the only outcome from that experience. All right, so hopefully this was a little bit helpful, right? It's hard with the F's. I'm an F, and it's hard to explain because y'all guys are really flexible. Like, we're really flexible people. We tend to not be rigid in the way that the T's are. And so it's a lot harder for us to self-introspect on the things that we actually get wrong. Your introspection needs to happen specifically, mostly around the actual experiences of the past, and that's going to be difficult, especially if you had a rough past, which is probable. As far as jobs, like really helping someone else, like having the options already, and like a job counselor would be a good one, or even a teacher. This would be a good one for a teacher, because helping the class to get a good feeling about learning will really, like, if you can get 20 kids to like science or like music because of you, you're gonna love that shit. That's gonna be the best shit ever. And so that type of situation is what you're wanting to look for in employment, is where you can bring other people experiences based off of your past knowledge in order to help them feel good about something. Now, you're not really trying to correct their logic or trying to help them correct their rationale. You're trying to make them feel good about the thing. So that's what you need to focus on. As far as romantic, you need somebody to help you with your sacral. Like, that's what it comes down to when you're looking for a partner. If you're a TE, like an ISFJ, a TE sacral, then you need somebody who has TE in one of the first 4 slots. They will help bolster up your sacral. It's more beneficial if they have it in their third eye slot, because that is the correlation right there, and they're actually actively building up your sacral by using their third eye. And vice versa. You're doing the exact same thing for them. So don't ever think that you get bogged down into, well, this person doesn't have T on the top of the slot, I can never be with him. That's not true. But it is going to take a little bit more work. You can be happy with somebody that's exactly like you. It's just a lot more difficult. Like, if somebody has the exact same mannerisms as you, it's going to get on your nerves. And so you need somebody that compliments you, that fills in your weaknesses. I got lucky. My wife's the exact opposite of me, and it really helps me, like, immensely to grow in my stat. All right, let's wrap it on up. Hopefully I brought a little bit of enlightenment and not too much confusion to a not too difficult subject. If you can get the base, you can understand this and start integrating it, you will grow exponentially. It will help you. Use this in meditative practices. Pray and meditate. Exercise. Eat well. All of the healthy things that you already know you need to do those. And institute this. Like I've outlined before how you pull the energy through the centers. And as you're pulling into each center, take the time to stop and think about the things that we're talking about here. Specifically for you. Like, it's not going to do you any good. If you're an NI base, it is not going to do you any good in your base to be looking at your TE or your NE or your TI. It's not. It's going to do you good to look at the best possibility going forward, and to actually spend time on that, like significant amount of time. I recommend at least a week for each part of the stack. Don't try to go up to your sacral until your base is ready. But once your base is ready, every day hit your base again, and then move to the sacral and sit in the sacral for a week. And then hit your base in your sacral and sit in your solar plexus for a week to strengthen that function in yourself, to understand where you're missing things, especially on the bottom half. The bottom four will trip you up if you're not doing it right and in a balanced manner. It is all about balance and not about restricting yourself from a thing or trying to limit anything. It's about assimilating everything, to integrating into you the parts of you that already exist, that are already there. Hopefully, I can help you with that. We will get into a lot more of how these individual functions work together as we go along. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. I love you, and until next time, this has been Pitt. Peace.